Welcome to Paul and Andy's podcast, Grey Matters. I don't know why I did it like that.
What, have you retrained as a voiceover artist
I've
now?
retrained. I've always been trained as one. I have done voiceover work, I'll have you know, for some very dubious places. Now, before we go any further, at the risk of irritating our listeners,
Yes,
you have produced a very nice cup of coffee
yes.
and a delightful biscuit, which I'm now availing myself of the second one. It's a dark chocolate and stem ginger cookie, all butter recipe.
Practically health food, I would say.
How do you work that out?
Well, dark chocolate's really good for
I'm
you,
breaking biscuit with you.
as opposed to milk chocolate. And ginger is good for you.
Mm-hmm.
So they should be selling. These should be part of your $5 a day, these biscuits, really.
Well,
Oh.
nothing more irritating than somebody crunching in your ear, but
No.
I'm going to do it because they are delicious and the coffee's going down the treat as well.
Well,
It's
good.
cold today, isn't it?
Freezing cold, yeah.
And because you're Mr. McCorber,
Yeah.
I've noticed that we're wearing fleeces and jumpers in your house.
No.
And you've got mittens on.
I have. Well, I haven't got mittens on. They're fingerless gloves.
Isn't
I
that,
can
isn't
still-
that a mitten?
No, a mitten's got a thumb, and then it's just one glove, isn't it?
Always?
That's a mitten. Yes. These are fingerless gloves.
I'm not sure about that.
Oh, it's true.
Well, just because you say something's true doesn't mean to say it is true.
I'm not saying that.
Although, of course, in America that doesn't
yeah.
hold water.
Indeed. How are you?
I'm all right.
Good.
I'm better for having a hot coffee.
Well,
and
yeah.
a lovely biscuit.
I'm sorry I've not put the heating on. It's nothing to do with being mean. It's just because I want to save the planet.
Well, I think it's... You don't want to heat the whole house just for you and me, do you? Why would you do
No.
that? So,
Heat the person, not the house. Very important.
yeah, thank you for that. So, yeah, I'm all right, yes. Choir's going quite well.
Oh, yeah.
Settling into it now, although it's taking up a phenomenal amount of time because we're doing classical stuff.
Yeah.
So we're doing Bach motets and cantatas and a Mendelssohn.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the Bach stuff, he was a vicious sadist, wasn't he? Because he was, you know, it's all that sort of stuff. And you've got
Don't
to do
sing
it
any more because we haven't got a PRS licence for this podcast.
I think he's out of copyright.
Oh, right, okay.
He's been dead a long time, anyway. And the thing is, we've got to do it in German as well. So we're all doing la 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 at the moment. La 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 la. I'm a bass, by the way, and you're a tenor, aren't you?
I am.
Why do you think you're a tenor? Because I would say your register is no higher than mine. Would you?
I don't know. I did a singing test and they said, "Oh, you could sing tenor." And I went, "Oh, that sounds all
I
right."
think they said you can sing for a tenor, but not here.
Oh, I see.
In fact, here is a tenor. Go away.
I've no idea. I don't know. You'd have to ask our choir master.
Because I'd say you were probably first base. I mean, I can get down pretty low down.
Well,
la 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 la
I think-
la la.
I think I've got quite a big range on my voice. I don't think it's as low as yours, but I prefer singing the top bits because they're a bit more interesting. Bass lines are a bit boring, I think.
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh yeah, they
How
are.
dare you?
No, they are, and they're all down there, and it's all a bit. Oh gosh, but I like singing lighter things. So yeah,
Castrati? Do you know what castrati?
I do indeed.
What's castrati then?
It's well, they used to have eunuchs in the choir to sing castrati, and I'll just leave it there. I'm not going to go into details.
I'm not going into details about the operation that performs to make you sing higher.
No, but I just enjoy singing the top register. Really, I quite enjoy it.
And what sort of things are you singing in your choir?
We sing all sorts, really. We do some, musical numbers like, for example, "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" from The Lion King, Elton John. We do things like "Lean on Me," Bill Withers.
Do you do "Lovely Day," Bill Withers?
No, we don't actually.
It's got a very long note in it.
It has, yes.
Many semi-breathes.
Indeed. And do all sorts of different things, including Unchained Melody, we do that. Obviously all our Christmas stuff we do at Christmas.
That's novel.
But we start rehearsing in August for Christmas, as you know. So that can be a bit odd. But no, we do a whole range of things. And at the Barbershop International Convention, which, as people will know, is happening in Bournemouth at the end of May Bank Holiday weekend. We are singing 2 songs. One is Old Cape Cod. Don't look confused.
Never heard of it.
You will when you hear it.
Well, go on then.
It goes, if you're fond of sand dunes and salty air.
Oh, yes, I like
that one. That's a barbershop arrangement of Old Cape Cod. And then we're doing You Are My Sunshine.
Oh, I like that.
Which is really nice. They're 2 kind of lovely songs. So
we're doing Bach's Cantata.
In German.
In German.
Which I don't think is a very romantic language, German. It's a very hard language, isn't it?
Brutal.
But it's easy to learn because it's all onomatopoeic, isn't it? It's all...
I'll look that up. But yes, can you spell onomatopoeia?
I used to be able to, but don't ask me to do it.
I know you're old.
Yes.
O-N-A... Matopoiea, I think.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
It is. Why we're singing it in German is because it fits the music better. Because Bach was German.
Yes, he wrote in German.
So our words don't fit quite as nicely.
Fair play.
But we're just at the la stage at the moment.
Right.
We're rehearsing 3 times a week.
Right.
Which is quite a lot.
It is quite intense,
so we have
isn't it?
Choir rehearsal on Monday evening.
Yeah.
That's with everybody, and then we did a rehearsal yesterday, so on a Wednesday, and then we'll do another rehearsal on Saturday or Sunday afternoon, just for an hour. And it's good to do it because it's fiendishly hard. But then I keep thinking, why have I submitted myself to 3 hours of practice a week, sight reading very difficult stuff, and it's become a bit of a chore.
Well, I think from my point of view, since I finished work, because I used to work shifts, I could never sign up to anything outside work because you don't want to let people down. But now I can. I love it, and I'm terrified of missing a week or a session because you'd fall behind and you let people down. So it's a real commitment, isn't it?
It is a real commitment. And there are times that, whether you're singing classical music or lighter music that you are, that it comes together. It just you get hairs on the back of the neck. You think,
This is why I do this.
Yeah, this is a good feeling. The serotonin has been released because singing's very good for you, isn't it? It's very good for you physically in terms of breathing and diaphragm and core and all of that.
Yeah.
But it does release happy chemicals.
It does. I love it. I actually look forward to our practice sessions, and singing in public is terrifying. I think it really is. It's a bit like broadcasting in that it gets the old adrenaline going, which is not a bad thing, really.
How do you describe what happens when the red light goes on when you're in a radio or a TV studio? You've done both.
Yeah.
So there's a countdown. There's 30 seconds to on air, then it's 10 seconds, and then the red light's on and you're live. What goes through your mind in those last 5 seconds?
A terrible feeling of being underprepared.
Always.
Well, I don't know, because I'm one of those people that, and broadcasting's taught me this, is things never go the way that you want them to go. With the best will in the world, something beyond your control, or sometimes within your control, goes wrong. So you've not only got to have a plan B, you've got to have a plan C, D, E and F as well.
Does that much go wrong, would you say?
I say so, yeah. But the great thing about broadcasting is that so many things go wrong, but nobody else would know apart from you if you're doing your job correctly. And that is why people who are good at it make it look very easy. And people who are bad at it are just generally bad at it.
They don't generally get to be on screen though if they're bad, do they?
No.
Sometimes now and again I've seen people you think you're just reading it like a robot, you're not putting any humanity into it. I've seen that, and that tends to be with younger people.
Yeah.
They're not relaxed into it.
And there's some great... We used to have... a a girl at work many, many, many years ago who really wasn't that bright, but was very, very pretty. So they put her on the telly to read the news.
Everyone's going, who is that now? When did this was?
It was a long time ago. And she actually used to make so many mistakes, some of which were hilarious. And there was one when there'd been an incident somewhere in Plymouth, I think, and the police had turned up. And what she meant to say was uniformed officers, attended the scene. And she said uninformed officers. She read it wrong.
You're joking.
No, it went out live on air. And I was like in stitches laughing. I couldn't understand. I just thought, oh my God, that is priceless. That is absolutely priceless. And I just had this vision of all these police turning up at the scene of a crime saying, why are we here? And the other one's saying, I've no idea, do you? I was going to ask you the same question.
Brian, do you know why we're here?
No idea.
No, uninformed. They should have had detectives go.
Yeah.
Because they would have obviously known, because they wouldn't have been uniformed.
And she wasn't from Plymouth. And
where was she from?
I don't know. And
was she from the other side?
And obviously didn't really know much about the Navy, which is a bad thing if you're from Plymouth, and pronounced frigate. True, live on air.
Oh dear.
So there, but for the grace of God, go I. But
we've all been young. You must. When you started off, you were not but a boy, were you?
When I started in radio, I was 21.
So you were, just out of school, really. Then.
Well, yeah, uni, yeah. So
you must have made some faux pas then.
I can't think of any, unless anybody wants to prove me wrong. But I can't think of any major.
Oh,
but please email.
I've had a few letters. It is. They haunt me. My mistakes haunt me.
Do they?
And that says something probably about my.
What are your best
psyche, really?
Best blunders then, or best bloopers?
Dear. The one that comes to mind was college. You're allowed to make mistakes at college.
Of course. Well, life is a learning curve. You're allowed to make mistakes in life. I'm not criticising the poor girl. I mean, I just think, this is what life's all about, and people feeling bad about making mistakes. But what I was trying to point out is that sometimes they can be quite funny.
Well, I was stage managing an opera. And what are you doing?
Sorry.
Scraping a bit of biscuit off the table.
Well, yeah, it's because
people are trying to listen to this and concentrate.
You've made crumbs everywhere. Look at this.
Sorry. And I was Willem Tauski was quite famous. I think he was a Russian, probably. Or
who?
Willem Tauski.
All right.
He was a fairly famous conductor. He was conducting the full symphony orchestra. This was at a music college, Guildhall in London.
Right.
And it was an opera. And I was on the book, which means I have the score, I have all the cues marked in, house lights go, so cue the orchestra, cue the tabs, cue everybody has been cued, and nothing happens unless you do that. That's what stage managing is. And I somehow got in a bit of a tiz, and I managed to cue the curtain up before the conductor had gone into the pit.
Oh, right.
So there's a come up, the curtain goes up, all the opera singers are standing there holding the post, ready to, or kind of doing a double take in the audience, thinking, that's not meant to happen. And then, of course, I cued Willem Tauski into the pit, and everyone applauded the conductor. So, and I think he looked across and, I don't know, smiled or whatever. So that was one of those cringy moments at college. But of course, all forgotten about now, apart from me and Willem Tauski, the late Willem Tauski, I assume. And then there was a time when I worked in the theatre. After drama college, I worked in rep theatre for a while to earn my stripes. And I was rather blasé one evening. You had, a control panel with all the queuing that went on. I wasn't actually on the book. I was the one above. I was a stage manager, not a deputy stage manager. And so I just I leaned over and put one of the tannoy switches, which I thought was going backstage. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well done. Another good performance. Another one tomorrow, if you can muster the energy. Brian will be round with the pay a bit later. Let's face it, that's why we do it. A very good night to you. And I'd hit the wrong switch, and it'd gone out to the bars and the auditorium. No. Apparently, it got a round of applause. But it was like, no, just in slow motion, you realise you've hit the wrong switch and gone to the wrong speakers, and it was
I guess. Go on.
No, I was going to say, and that was only trumped probably by. Are we allowed to say trumped? We haven't banned the word yet, have we?
No.
It was only trumped by a sitting. We were doing She Stoops to Conquer. I don't know if you know
great play. Oliver Goldsmith.
It was Oliver Goldsmith, and I was in it.
So was I.
Weren't at the same time. I
No.
recognised you.
I played Hastings.
Oh, did you know?
Yeah.
Yes, I can see that.
Yes.
I was some sort of extra person, I think, but I know that we had to do various sort of we had to play the spoons, and we had to play some wine glasses that had a different amount of drink in.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I mean, so it was like to roddle. I remember all that. Anyway,
Yeah.
we were immersed in it. It was lovely. It's a lovely piece, isn't it? And it was the summertime.
Yeah.
And it was a Saturday. And we'd played tennis, a bunch of us in the cast and the crew, and we were sitting there having a Pimm's or something, as you do when you're younger, and you can
Not
afford that
before you
lifestyle.
go on, surely.
In the afternoon.
All right, okay.
So a few hours, and then I suddenly thought, oh no! It was like 4 o'clock, and I hadn't picked up the wigs from the perruquier, which is a wig person.
Yeah.
And the wigs were being done at the college in Southampton, which closed at lunchtime.
Oh.
And it was like, it flashes before you. How can you do a comedy piece set in, a period piece?
Yeah.
And they haven't got wigs.
Mm-hmm.
They can't go on with just their own hair.
No.
And so I think it was the days before mobiles. So it was like, can I get hold of somebody, and would they let me in, and could I get it? Well, it was solved, but I remember 2 hours of absolute. This is just so bad that I got myself into. Yeah. So those were two of them. There's been lots in telly. I mean, loads in telly.
Yeah.
But I think I've wiped some of those.
But the thing is, the way I view it is, if you're going to do, say you're a radio presenter, you're going to do 3 hours of live broadcasting a day, or a TV presenter, you're going to do half an hour of live broadcasting a day, every day as part of your job, things are going to go wrong. That's that simple. It's like if somebody buys themselves a motorbike, they've got to be prepared to fall off. And they are going to fall off. I know very, very few motorcyclists who can claim that they've never ever come a cropper on their motorbike. And it's just a case of, are you going to be killed, or are you going to get up afterwards and walk away and get back on the bike? Well, it's true though, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
And broadcasting is just that. It's not the end of the world if something goes wrong.
No, you're not going to be killed.
No, and that's why
everybody might never work again.
That's why everybody in broadcasting says when something goes wrong, nobody died, and that is so true, and it's worth remembering. No matter how serious you think it is, as long as you haven't dropped the F-bomb on air, it's okay.
Well, my uncle was a brain surgeon, and he said, there's no point worrying about anything because nobody died. Apart from that bloke last week, he wasn't a brain surgeon, my uncle. He actually ran a cafe.
Oh, right.
So it's very different. But nobody died
in
his cafe, unless, of course, the bacon was off or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, you do take these things with you that you think, that's just... You still shiver when things happen, forgotten stuff. Even talking about it now, thinking about not picking up the wigs and the ramifications of that. I mean, it does happen on radio and television when it's live, doesn't it? Because you did, I think I worked with you on Children in Need. And that can
was
be...
Was that at St Ives?
No, I don't remember where it was. Don't remember.
You don't remember?
I don't remember where it was. I remember what it was.
Oh, right, what was
that? All right? It was Children in Need.
Yeah, I know, but what were we doing?
You were presenting it.
Oh, right.
And I was there fluffing you and making sure that you were happy and whatever, which
Quite
obviously took a long time, to be honest.
We've come so far, haven't we?
But I can't. There was something that happened. I think there was no sound, or you're right. There's always something that happens, and you think, how on earth did, how did we get through that? How would it
keep going? Vamp to,
well, you have to be good at ad-libbing, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
what?
Do that then. Ad-lib now then.
What, you mean just make stuff up on the
just
spot?
Just make stuff up. Like,
I can't do that.
Like we're not sitting at a kitchen table.
I know. I did have this true story. I had a really good friend a long time ago, probably in our 20s, and he used to work for British Aerospace, and his job was very, very, very secret. And we used to go out to the pub and stuff and talk about. And I was working in radio at the time. And
he worked for British Railways, and his job was secret.
British Aerospace.
Oh, British Aerospace.
You must listen more.
Yes.
No, British Aerospace.
Well, his headphones on. I can't hear a thing.
And his job was a bit secret, and so he couldn't really talk about it to me either. So, and I always wanted to know, I wonder what he really, really does. He said to me, because I was sort of saying, I've had a really tough day at work. This has gone wrong. That's gone wrong. That's gone wrong. He says, look on the bright side, MD. I said, when stuff goes wrong in my job, I can't just sit in the canteen and say, well, it's not rocket science, is it?
Very good.
It's true.
Very good.
And it made me think. Okay,
it is rocket science. It is. Well, we have an anomaly, Houston. It is very different. And different people's jobs do carry different responsibilities. But we do take them seriously, and we can take them home. To be able to shrug it off, I think, is quite a useful skill to develop. Because when you're young and you do something wrong, you internalise it.
Yeah, and you feel terrible about it, and it stays with you for days and days and days, and you can build up resentments and all that sort of stuff. But when you're older, you've kind of got a bit more experience, and that can be seen as not caring. But I think it's not. You still care about it. You just realise there's nothing you can do about it.
Well,
because you know as well as I do with live broadcasting, once you've made a mistake, it's too late. It's out. It's already gone out on air, so you can't go back and redo it. No. It's too late. So there's no point dwelling on it. You just think,
and that's why putting people on air is a risk, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you have to know that they're not going to screw it up or blurt something out that they shouldn't do.
Absolutely.
I think the nicest things are when it's a joke on yourself and you do something silly like. I was floor managing the Freddie Starr show when Freddie Starr came back to ITV.
Was that before the hamster incident or afterwards?
It was after.
Oh, right.
I was fully satiated with rodents by the time I worked with him, I'm pleased to say.
Is that when you got the job?
It was very, very clever, the campaign, because he never did, obviously.
No, I know he did.
But they had a great set, very light entertainment. Very
I remember the show.
Aluminium, and there were cut-out stars with lights underneath them on the actual floor itself that had, I suppose it would have been some sort of plastic material that diffused the light. Anyway, so there's stars all over. So there am I saying, can I just have everyone's attention, please? So, Dave, thank you. On the stage here, there are cut-out stars, so they won't stand the weight of you. So please, please, please don't, because if you stand on them, they'll break. And I stood back. I took a step back, straight through one of the stars to a huge cheer.
Brilliant.
And to the electricians coming out and looking at me, thinking, "Oh, for his sake, what's it like?"
Did you try and sort of front it out and say, look, I just wanted to demonstrate what happens when you stand on them?
Yeah. No, I didn't do that because that was pointless. It was a bit like when I worked in the theatre that we had to take flymen, they're called.
Yes.
Fly people. Sounds odd, doesn't it? Fly people, but they pull the ropes which make the scenery go up and down, and they either get skied or they get up to where they're just out of shot and then brought down again. Mm-hmm. If you take the wrong line at the wrong time, you can end up completely changing how something looks. And there was an occasion where these fly guys brought in columns, Greek columns, into the Coronation of Pompeii, another opera. And they brought these columns in, nearly taking out 2 or 3 of the singers underneath, who had to then ad-lib their way round it and kind of, it's just...
How do you ad-lib your way out of that if you're in an opera?
I've done that before, and I think you go,
oh dear, I think the pillars are here, they weren't here earlier on. What are we to do?
Okay, that's interesting.
It's quite interesting, yeah. So those are the gaffes, and things in print. People write stuff, don't they? I just picked up an email that you're going to be very kindly speaking at a men's breakfast. And
yes.
Unfortunately, in the email, please let us know the numbers by what happens to be 4 days after the event's taken place. So that's just a lack of proofing and spotting those mistakes.
Well, it's usually people rushing.
Is it?
And not reading back what they've just written before they press send.
Oh, yes.
Because in that case, they also got my name wrong as well.
Yes. Any Bria.
Any Bria will do.
Left out the D. Yeah. Any Bria will do. We don't mind.
That's fine. I don't
We'll have
mind.
this one.
I don't mind.
If you don't like
really
that one, there'll be another one along in a minute. That's fine.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.